Dutch society, I think, is very Islamic because it gives you the freedom to choose to be Muslim or not, to reject Islam if you want, or to accept it and to be very pious and pray and fast. And I think then you really actively choose to be Islamic, and that actually makes you more of a Muslim. So one of the messages I think that our organization talks about is that citizenship is really related to why I actively decide to stay an American, to be an American, and to believe in the citizenship oath of America. Similarly, as Dutch, I would imagine that your citizenship is more dependent on why you decide to stay here. If you're staying in this country, you're making an active choice every day to stay here. And there must be a reason you're not leaving. There must be something that you love about the Netherlands that makes you want to stay here. So part of my Islamic teaching is that just as you give back to your parents, right? At the end of time, when your parents get sick, you should be able to take care of them. That's part of Islamic teaching, just as they took care of you. You should take care of your spouses the way they take care of you. Take care of your children now, and they'll take care of you later. And I think your country is the same way. You should take care of your country the way it takes care of you. Now, sometimes your country may fail you. Sometimes your country may treat you in a way that you don't appreciate. Parents are the same way, right? Sometimes your parents don't treat you the way you want to be treated, but at the end of the day, you still love your family. And I think our nation is the same way. I think it's wrong for us to walk into a country that has a certain characteristic and then say, well, no, we think Islamic methods are better, and we're going to make it into an Islamic state, even though it accepted us as Muslims and welcomed us to be able to practice our faith.
We as a Muslim community haven't addressed the real cause. And when I talk about root cause of radicalism, I believe that if you look at terrorism itself, it is an act. It is a means to an end. The terrorists have a reason they do this. They're not doing it just because they want to randomly do things because they're crazy. They're doing it because they have a goal. So what strikes me the most is that we as a community, and I think even the West, non-Muslim and Muslims, haven't addressed what the goals are that the terrorists seek. They want to put into place what they call Islamic State. And one of the clear messages that I think we're trying to articulate at the American Islamic Forum for Democracy is that the dream of the Islamic State is not really Islamic, in that truly my parents went to America and immigrated to the West because they wanted to be able to practice their faith freely, where government wouldn't tell them how to practice and that they had to pray or that they had to wear hijab, that these were choices that they made in and of themselves. Many women in my family cover their hair, but they do it of their own choice. I think ultimately in Islam, the way I was taught, there is no clergy. Imam simply means teacher. Imam means religious instructor. It doesn't mean quote-unquote community or politician or political leader. It has become that in many ways, and I think that part of our growth as a community will be to change that and say that, well, the imams can give us recommendations and consultation about faith in the universities or in mosques, but when it comes to government and society, this is a place for us to have our own political movements separated from religion.
They make an option for you as for a woman, it's okay, but they're forbidding you.
I know.
But
because what's the harm?
Islamic land,
what's the harm to society? You see, that's the part. Is we were talking before about victimless crimes. What's the crime that a woman is harming society by wearing a hijab?
What they really want in Turkey is just more like equality. They don't want you to wear it.
But remember, you can't force equality. It has to be taught, learned, practiced, and respected. Because all they're going to do is push them underground. That's what they're doing, is they're pushing the Islamists underground to unite and do these things. It's wrong. Just
the choice has to be with you and not with the government.
Exactly.
But
that's the problem.
It comes from a great history way. The Ottoman kingdom was brought down because of these kind of things. That's why they're afraid.
Well, the world now is full of a lot of examples that are a lot more successful than the Ottomans were in the West. And they may have had their time, but clearly free societies based on freedom and liberty, especially religious freedom, have proven that it makes people work harder and be more dedicated to their own creativity than being forced not to do things. What makes us Muslim is being able to choose whether to practice or not, whether to pray or not, whether to fast, and that the enlightenment, I think that there are many Muslims, especially in the West, that are living in Western enlightenment that really appreciate the freedoms and are going to bring it back. I think even in the Middle East, you've got a number of scholars like El Ashmawi in Egypt, and many others that Abdul Karim Saroush and others that have talked about freedom and liberty and enlightenment. So yes, I think the seeds are there. And remember, in Western enlightenment, it only took 5, 10, 15 scholars to actually begin to change. And I think that if the West supports them, and the West doesn't abandon them, and the West actually starts to give them priority over the Islamists that believe in Islamic states, I think that in the end we'll win the contest of ideas. I think true reform is going to come from Europe and from America, where the marketplace of ideas is free, and we can debate these issues and figure out who has the best solution as far as bringing Muslim ideas into the 21st century.